Maybe I lost. Right, all type of malfunctions, but we're making it. So yeah, so the intro came on late, the other intro. But how you doing? What's going on?
It's good. It's good. You sound a little distorted to me. I don't know.
Do I like what? Like an echo or
A
how's
little
it?
bit. It sounds a little staticky.
Okay. Oh man. Hopefully that clears up here. Um, we have nothing going on in the background. Let me get off the stream and try to come back in.
Or I wonder. Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. All right. I
That's
still.
much better.
All right. Much
No,
better.
that's much better.
All right, cool. Little technology here, getting used to it, working out the kinks. But hey, welcome to our very first healing the culture. And Abby, I'll kind of let you introduce yourself, and we can kind of talk about how we got here today, and then
Okay.
that's some good news and all type of stuff. But yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. Well, hi, everyone. I am ABJ, and I am the CEO of Consulting Firm LLC, where we offer you a safe place to visit your childhood traumas, to heal from them, and to be able to live fulfilling and happier lives. I am a trauma advocate, so trauma is my territory. It's something that we just don't understand. And as a side effect of that, it impacts every aspect of our lives. One of the things that I love about Mr. Shaw, as I know him, is his understanding of energy. Trauma, it's energy trapped in your body. And so until we understand the fundamentals of that and how that came to be and create safe places for people to be honest and to be open and to say, hey, this happened to me. What do I do with this? How do I recover from this? How do I heal from this? So I don't pass this on to my family, to my relationship, to my community. If you're in leadership, so you're not abusing the people that you're responsible for because this misplaced energy in your body, right? How we got here, so I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret. I'm a little ashamed, just a little bit. So Mr. Shaw was my daughter's. He, I don't even. What were you, like a behavioral specialist?
Um, I've always wore a double role, but I was definitely, let's just say, an educator. I
There
was
we
a
go. So he was my daughter's educator, slash my big brother, slash my teacher, slash my pseudo therapist. Um, my daughter started having some difficulties after she started having seizures, right? So she never had a seizure before, and something happened, and it started off as a panic attack, and she hit her head, and then she started having seizures, right? And so, as a side effect of that, her behavior started to change. It was just like I was trying to raise a whole brand new child that I just met that day. And so there were times when I would go to Mr. Shaw and I'm like, hey, I have no idea what's happening. I don't know if what I'm doing is right. I don't know how to help my daughter. I'm just being fully transparent. I don't know how to respond to how she's behaving because this is all new. You take a child who's third, fourth grade who, understands how to sit down, who understands how to be quiet, who understands how to focus, who understands how to do her day-to-day life activities, and then all of that be disrupted, and now we're having conversations like, hey, why are you not paying attention in class? Hey, why are you not standing in your seat? For me, and I'm a military brat and I'm a northerner, so our parents didn't do all this reminding, like, as I said it once, and I'm gonna help you get it right the next time, whatever that help looks like, right? So there are times where I would go to Mr. Shaw and I'm just like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know if I'm being a good mom right now. I don't know how to help my child. Like, help me help her. And he was always there. He never judged. There was a few conversations I can remember us having. It seems like a few more times than others, but just creating that safe space to admit that I needed help and that I did not know what was happening or how to soothe her, how to soothe myself in this situation, and having him take that journey with me and help me to think about things differently, right? Every helper needs help. And so, him being that point of safety for my daughter and I. And once that happened, I have never looked back. I don't care. We transitioned to a whole nother school and a style of learning. But I still knew how to email Mr. Shaw. I'm like, hey, just because we're not here does not mean that you're off the hook with us. So now he's like family, right? And that's how we got here. Just that understanding of every helper needs help and that you have to be courageous to ask for help. And when that help is there, learning to listen to it and learning to grow and heal with that support. So I'm so excited to be where we are now and how starting off as being my daughter's educator has transitioned and how it's blossomed and how it's grown is nothing short of beautiful and amazing.
No, thank you, Abby. And I would just like to say, we're definitely here tonight also. So we got all of that. Plus, Abby gave me a nice push last week. So it was one day last week I was just thinking about it. And I was like, man, just thinking about my experience as an educator and what it takes to be a true educator. And thank you for wanting to help and being vulnerable, which we'll talk about vulnerability later, but being vulnerable and saying, I need help. And that's the first step, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but where we're at right here, Abby gave me a push. So I posted, all of my years of experience as an educator taught me that the children that need the most love, they need that love when they did not earn it. When literally you're like, it goes against all of your natural instincts of you got this kid, you got this person, they're acting out, they're doing whatever, but that's when they actually need the most love. That's
Yes.
when they're actually in trouble and in a moment where they're drowning and they don't have the skills yet to figure it out or dig themselves out of that hole. It's like they're in
Right.
quicksand and they struggle more and more and they go down. And what usually happens is people escalate them versus de escalate them because you get into a situation where you're really thinking that that child is attacking you or acting out because of you, but in all actuality, it's the trauma and the other things that they come to school with that you have to navigate through and break down and work with. So I posted that last week. I was like, yo, she hit me up and she was like, yo, you got to turn this into a discussion. So I'm like, okay, we got together, we talked, and then it's like, okay, we need to take this further to discussion. We need to go ahead and open up and really talk about this. And I want to thank you for having me, like pushing me to say, you know what, get, let's get our voices out there. Let's
Yes.
talk about this because we have to have some changes within our educational system, the way we
Mm-hmm.
live every day in our communities. And the only way we do that, we need voices and all voices at the table. So,
Exactly.
boom, that's why you got us here. We're here to talk about and I want to take just a second, Abby, and I want you to give your thoughts on that too, just
Mm-hmm.
to unpack that before we kind of go into the meat of our show today. But when you hear that, right, and I
Mm-hmm.
know more people would be like, man, when that kid is acting out, or my child is acting out, or that person's acting out, why am I approaching them with more love than understanding versus coming hard on them?
Mm-hmm.
And it's from that standpoint of number one, why are they acting out? Number two, what about this situation triggered and that emotion, which we know that emotions are energy, what
Mm-hmm.
triggered this reaction that's going on right now? And if I take this second to unpack this situation and say, okay, this is an opportunity for me to teach which discipline actually means teaching,
Right.
versus punish.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the biggest thing that in our country, in our culture, that we have to get over. Um, we are a very punish nation. We like
Mm-hmm.
to punish people, um, but punishment doesn't work. It only creates more, more. And when I'm talking about punishment, there's difference
Uh-huh.
between discipline
Mm-hmm.
and punishment. Is I'm yelling at you, I'm cussing at you, but I never explain why, or I
Well, that's abuse,
you.
actually. That's not punishment. That's
No, you're right,
abuse.
but here we go. But let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about that. You're right, but in South Carolina, police will come to your house, and I remember this several times because I had students who go through it. Parents are allowed to physically discipline their children
Mm-hmm.
as long as they don't leave
A bruise,
marks,
a welt, or
bruises, or
broken
welts,
bones.
bruises, right? Anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming more from the punishment side of things that I'm talking about. And you're
Mm.
right, it is abuse, right? To me, I think it is, you know. But in
Well,
our culture,
you said a
it's
lot
heavily
there,
limited.
though. Like,
It is a
before
lot.
we can even get to like anywhere past that, I think we need to back up a couple steps. So
All right,
the initial post was triggering for me, um, for a few reasons. And so, not verbatim, but pretty much in essence, it was your child needs your love the most when they're acting out or when they're not showing up as their best self, right? And for me, it resonated so deeply with me, and then it also triggered at the same time because it was like, geez, this sounds so simple, right? But that wasn't my life. And to be honest, that wasn't the earlier part of my mothering as well. And so it forced me to sit back, and I looked at your post a few times before I responded on there, but it made me step back as a mom, as a daughter, and then as a trauma advocate, and go, he's absolutely right. Because it's in those moments, typically, whether you're a child or adult, you feel the most unlovable, right? Because you're not meeting the standards that were set for you. And typically, when that happens, we as adults, we as parents, we as educators, we as leaders, we as babysitters, we don't stop and go, hmm, why is he or she doing this when they know the consequences and the repercussions, right? So our children know that we have a few more steps that we can take that the babysitter and the teacher cannot, right? So if your child knows the ecosystem, the ethos of your house, and they break the norm, something's off, right? As a culture, as a civilization, I don't think, and this is my opinion, I don't think that we understand trauma enough. I don't think we've seen it modeled, what's healthy and what's unhealthy. Like, that's such a broad spectrum, right? Because like no child is the same, and I understand that. But how many times have you seen another parent who has a child who's being extremely difficult, and they're just like, okay, come talk to me, right? That's not for me. It's not. It's like, I'm gonna tell you one more time, and I'm gonna pop you, or I'm gonna don't make me help you get together, right? Or they're carrying them out, and they're kicking and screaming, and there's no conversation, there's no safety, not making sure you're not hitting the head walking out the building because you're just trying to escape, you're trying to flee, as opposed to going, what's causing this? And so that's not something we've seen modeled. We don't see it on TV. Um, not as culture. We don't see it a lot of times in our communities, and we don't understand it. And so we are just trying to get them to get back to what it was before it interrupted us. So I think a lot of times we see it as an interruption and a little bit of an embarrassment than we do as a teachable moment of, let me find out what's going on with my child or what's going on with this child and help them calm their energy, calm themselves, and be able to move forward.
No, absolutely right. And so what you're talking about is making sure, like I said, people always say all the time, bring that same energy. That energy that you're bringing is a teaching, healing energy. That teaching is, I don't want you to do this again. So let's work through this versus
Mm-hmm.
I'm going off. Now, you and I both know that we learn from our past experiences, and some
Mm-hmm.
of us may not have the best experiences. And I think like the first step is to do a self inventory and realize that, do I have the skill sets through my experiences to handle this situation best with a child, anybody's child, or any other
Mm-hmm.
person? Do I have these skill sets? If not, I need to go out and get them. I need to be trained. And that's why I believe in coaching and training so much when it comes down to
Mm-hmm.
this, because that is a big gap in our teaching training module as we push teachers in the classrooms. And I want everybody to hear me here. I am very pro teacher. I am not blaming teachers. I am blaming the system that we have that's not properly preparing teachers to
Mm-hmm.
deal with every little bit of energy one
Mm-hmm.
child brings into the classroom. So if you have 23 students in your class, you have a lot going on. There should be,
Exactly.
and you have to have a certain skill set to master that, right? To
Mm-hmm.
make that happen and to not go off. And from a parent's perspective, if I had something rough happen, and we're going to get into the how do we do that in a moment. If I
Mm-hmm.
get into a rough moment with my child, is it something that's triggering for my childhood? Was there something missing that I didn't receive? And now my fears, I am pushing on my child. And we're going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about
Ooh.
it in a moment. I think it's time for us to go ahead and get in here. So here's the good news, right?
Right.
We'll get into the good news, and then we're going to jump into it. So here's the good news. The good news is I finally put it all together. I am back in my element when I am working with parents, families, and individuals on the counseling coaching side. So it's official. I'm launching my practice here where, yes, where I am a holistic uh, coach counselor is what I call myself. But
Okay.
it's where, when you, like Ellie said earlier, when families or when someone's like, I don't know what to do, like, hit me up, give me a call. We have Evie here on the other side who has been drumming this, and I've been watching her just beat that drum, and I'm supporting them. Yes, we have people of color in there who's talking about trauma. Why am I saying this is important?
Mm-hmm.
Because as a person who's been in the educational system, I've been in other government agencies within our state, just our state. I don't know how everybody else's state look, but our state of South Carolina, where they're talking about a case that deals with black families, black culture, and I was literally the only person who understood the cultural relevance in that room, and nobody else even asked other questions. So I'm proud of you, Abby, for jumping in here and
Whew.
doing it, because our voices are not being heard, and we're not being represented because we are not at the table. And so that's critical in what you do. And just for a second, can I get you to talk about your piece quickly before we jump into it? Because I think this is critical, and we're going to come back to it. What you do when it comes to what you're thinking about doing with children who have entered the penal system, the justice
Mm-hmm.
system, and where we need to make some adjustments there.
Oh, so the short and long of that, one of the reasons that drove me to get my firm up and running and to intentionally work it. I used to be part of the school system too, right? And so I've seen it from the stance of student, I've seen it from the side of a parent, and I've seen it from the side of staff. Um, who fills in educational slots, right? And one thing, whether we believe it or not, well, two things. School as we know it, in my opinion, I'm going to be very clear with that tonight. In my opinion, I don't think it's set up to serve our needs now. I don't think that the underbelly, that the foundational portion of it is safe and well thought out for minority children. It's just not. Okay. And so when that happens, when you place a child who the environment is not conducive for them, things happen, and trouble starts to happen, and then referrals start to happen, and then the SRO starts to get involved, and now this student is labeled, right? And so every little thing, whether they're in the classroom or not, is now the student's fault. And so it's it's not as big of a deal in air quotes when they're younger, but you let them get up a few more years, and now the cops are being called, right? And now we're expelling them, and guess where they go? Juvie, court. And if they cannot rebound, if they're not rehabilitated, if they are not able to work with individuals who understand where that started and why it started and how to heal all of that energy that's misplaced in their body, then they end up in places like prison. So that school to prison pipeline, it's a real thing, right? As much as we said it's a myth, it's a real thing, especially for little boys, little girls who look like you and I. Um, and so with me, with being a trauma advocate, understanding the earlier we can catch that, especially within children, the sooner we can correct it. We can cultivate a space for them to learn, okay, so I'm responding like this because of this. How can I respond differently? As a parent, why am I responding to my child this way? Or why am I responding the way that I'm responding, period? And so that doesn't happen a lot in our culture, in our community. And so something really simple, something as honest, I don't know if it's the best word for this, but do we arrest the mom or the dad that steals the can of raviolis because they're trying to feed their child? Or
Mm.
do we go, hey, that's wrong. It's wrong. How can we get you the services that you need to be able to provide for your family? That's not what we do. We throw them away. We lock them up. Now they have a record. Now they can't get employment. How is this helping? How is this helping? Because we do not understand trauma and triggers, and we have not quite figured out. I believe it's coming, but we haven't quite figured out how to either build the table if we're not invited, or how to sit our butts in those chairs and to show up and to speak up for those of us who do not have that privilege. And that was something I had to sit with myself. A lot of people listen to me. At one point, I couldn't figure out why. I also realized I have a really big mouth, and I don't have a problem with fighting for what I believe in. Right, like that is the hill that I am willing to die on, and it's really selfish of me, and it's not showing up as my best self if I sit on that, and if I'm not out making as much noise as I possibly can, because I see what the problem is, and we also understand how we can pivot and rectify it. Then shame on me. Shame on me for not doing everything in my power to make a difference in my corner of the world. If I don't like what's happening in the classroom, how can I empower people? How can I be that voice? How can I advocate for those children, for those educators, for those parents? And so that is what we do. We create that space. Let's talk about it. One of my slogans is, "We believe you." I don't care if you're 49 and it happened when you were 7. If that is causing you pain, I believe you. You don't have to plead your case with me or my staff. Let's talk about it. Let's visit what hurts. What are your pain points? What's causing you to blow up? Are you just an angry, cantankerous person? Or do you have all this hurt, all this energy of rejection energy of abuse, energy of abandonment. And now you're 30 and we go, hey, you're grown, you should know how to behave. But honestly, you're really 4. So how do we heal that 4-year old so you can show up as that 35-year-old healed person, right? So that's what we do. That is what we do. We are here. Let's talk. We believe you. We really do.
No, no, thank you. No, that's what we do, and that's why we're here. And I just wanted to plug that for a moment because I think it's critical for us to take a second to talk about as we're setting the stage up for this, right? Like, what do we do? We're here, and if we can't help you, we'll find somebody else to help you because we have to get to work, right? And so, in saying that, I'm looking at some of the comments, from Facebook. And thank you everybody who has tuned in and has been tuning in and chiming in. And I saw someone said definitely power struggle has been a one. And like, yeah, like that's the first step as a adult. Like, I don't need to have a power struggle with a child or with anyone when I know number one. So what I'm gonna go into now and get into is I want us to go through now, like, what are our takeaways? Like, how do we begin this process to
Mm-hmm.
even be a person where we can handle this, right? Like, how do we be able to not only interact with that child, your child, anybody else's child, or just in a person, but how do we begin the process of us ourselves when we talk
Mm-hmm.
about healing? And we talked about we have I call it the big starting five, right? So you have to have the big starting five to get ready to launch.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is simple. Who are you? Who are you? And not your name, not your first name, not your last name, not anything like that. But literally at the end of the day, what makes you you? What
Mm-hmm.
is your purpose for being here? Because you're not a mistake. You're here.
Oh, that's so good.
Are you, and this is the moment now we're asking everybody who's watching this, either live or on a replay. This is the moment we're asking you, get a pencil to paper, pen, or your notes, whatever you need to do. Be vulnerable with us for a second. Write this down.
Mm-hmm.
But who are you? Unpack that and really know who you are, because if you don't, that's where a lot of your pain and problem points will come from. For example, I am going to model everything quickly of who am I, right? And this
Mm-hmm.
is me in a nutshell, and I am all of these things. And we're going to get into I am in a moment. But when I
Okay.
explain who I am, who you are, you always say I am. So I am first a son. I'm a grandson. That's my beginning, where I started. I am a cousin, brother. I am a friend. I am a husband, father. I am a counselor, coach, motivational speaker. I am someone who always speak up for the hopeless. And I am someone who will fight to the end of the day for true equality. Not that fake stuff we be talking about, but
Mm.
true equality, to where we build environments where people are able to go into rooms and be them, right? So when you say all these things and you're like, look, I can unpack each one. And if I go back and I find where, when I said my first step is I am a son, if I had an issue in my childhood where something disrupts my experience as a son of my parents, I need to address that. Because if I don't address that, I can't move on to the next level. Like Mill said, there's levels to this thing. I can't move on to the next level if I am if I have problems being a son and I have problems with my parents. Because in order for me to be a son, I have to be able to pass this positive love and energy back to my parents or parent or whatever your situation was. Oh, go ahead. You're chiming. I see it. Go ahead. Don't hold back. Go for it for a second. Where you going? I
Okay, so
see it.
here's the thing for me, right? You see how easy it was for you to clearly articulate who you are. There's people who do not know. And that starts right where you said as a son. It starts in childhood. Our parents are more than just the vehicles to get us here. They had roles and responsibilities. Whether they had the capacity to fulfill those roles, that's a topic of conversation. But as your parent, your mother and your father had certain responsibilities to affirm you, to help to name you, to tell you who you are, right? And once they realize it, there's a verse in the Bible that I like another interpretation says, train up a child in the way that they're bent, right? Which means what do they gravitate towards? You know, my kid is the antithesis of me. She is all creative. I mean, arts, arts, arts. I can take the TV from her. She's fine. If I take a book, I'm a terrible mom. That was not me as a child, right? Um, and so, as simple as that question is, it's so complex because who I am, especially today, is not who I was told I was. So I'll give you an example. And here's what I mean by that. Um, you're great. You can be anything you want to be, ABJ. You're stupid. You're dumb. I don't know who you think you are. You're never going to go any farther than this. You look just like your mama. You act just like your daddy. And he ain't nothing and you're not going to be nothing. So which one's right? So am I a good person or am I bad? You know, you say that I can, you say that I am, and I'm lovely and I'm made in God's image, and then you attack me, or you don't protect me, or you don't keep me safe. And so, as simple as those three little words are, it's a it brings so much conflict and so much dissonance because a lot of times what we were told we are conflicts greatly with what's being modeled and who we feel like we are. And at some point, the loudest voice wins. I never said it was right, but at some point, the loudest voice wins. So
Mm,
maybe I'm not smart, you know, maybe I can't be who I thought I was. Maybe I'm not worthy of love like I thought it was, which was, I'm gonna keep going back to that question that you posed. Children who are not showing up as their best selves need the most love. So why is it that I'm great and I can be anything I want to be as long as I'm towing the line? And then the first time I don't do my chore, I don't do my homework, or I misbehave in class, I'm this awful person. And you grow up 18 years of that. Who are you? I don't
mm.
know.
Confused. Mixed
Mm-hmm.
messages.
and
Mixed
and
messages.
a lot of times you feel guilty for trying to be something different than what you are. So a lot of times it's easy to be the bad guy. It's easier to, to lie and cheat and steal because that's what's expected. Although I feel like I can be better, I feel like I can make a different choice. I feel like, yeah, I didn't graduate high school, so I'm gonna go back and get this GED because who I am today wants to be honorable and I want to be productive. But you're 35 and you're too old for this, like you should have did this back then. So I think that those three little words for some people, it's like trying to move a mountain with a fork. And I
You're right.
also, yeah, and I think as an educator, we're asking educators to show up with this dual sense of who they are and this misplaced energy and then educate my child.
Yes.
Or as a parent, because I'm not going to just blame it on the educators. I'm not blaming educators at all. Okay. Hear
Yes.
my heart. But as a parent, because I'm not sure who I am and who I can become. And maybe I don't have that permission or that safety to make a new decision to be something different. I bring that to my children. I'm going to show up that way to my child's teacher, to my child's coach, to my employer.
No, that's
Yeah,
deep.
it starts with us. Yeah.
It does. And it starts with us, but that's it. That's where the work begins. And everybody's different. We may take a while on that first step before we go there. And everybody who's listening, if this is resonating, like, reach out to someone, whoever you trust, whoever you're comfortable with, to start the work, start doing the work, because we have to break this cycle of passing on this traumatic energy over and over and expecting different results. Like, that's insanity, right? So then let's go to number two now. Number two is I am worthy. And once again, this is vulnerable. Once you know who you are, you have to know then that you are worthy, that you are valued as a person, as a citizen of this world. And when you bring that into the room, it just it's like a big spotlight, like a big beaming light, and people feel it. And usually people who have more negative energy and who are not grounded and happy with themselves, it drives them crazy. Like, they cannot stand that person who has figured it out, know who they are, and won't
Mm-hmm.
back. But like I said earlier, you start out with I am. Everything should be I am. And just like I said earlier, then now, but you become more technical with it, right? Now, not even
Mm-hmm.
for I am, you should have your own personal mission statement and your own personal vision statement. And your mission statement should be filled with all of the things that you're doing to get to your vision. Where do you see yourself in the future? When you create these statements and you create these affirmations, you are now beginning to speak things and put things in motion into your life, into your vortex, that you have been putting it for. Like we said earlier, God said that He made us in His image, so we are naturally creators. What are you creating? Are you
Mm-hmm.
creating more hurt, or are you creating love and healing? Are you creating generational wealth, or are we
Mm-hmm.
creating continued generational poverty? And I talk about that as it comes to not just money. When I talk about wealth, I talk about health, how you feeling, your attitude, all of that. Is your mission and vision statement in line with, number one, who you are, and number two, is that going to get you to the place where you now begin to be more confident in yourself and know that you are worthy no matter what anybody else says, thinks, or feel about you? Are you comfortable in your skin? Did you want to chime in there for number two?
I am are two of the most powerful words we can ever say, right? Because it gives life to whatever comes after that. And
Yes.
I'm going to pick on myself. I am so guilty. I used to be, I've gotten a whole lot better and I'm still working on it. I have a coach who stays on my case about it. What you speak is what manifests, right? And that's not spooky or anything difficult. It's the truth, right? Because it's energy. We're energy. So if I say I am smart, then doggone it, your brain hears it and it does everything in its power to line up so you can live up to what you just said. If you say I am worthy, I don't care what's happening, what noise is going on, what other people around you say. If you say it enough, your brain hears it. We don't understand the brain body connection as a people, as a culture. We just don't get it. So if you tell your brain you can, I don't care how difficult it is, your brain has no other choice but to believe what it heard. So I am are two of the most powerful words that
Yeah.
exist. And and we need to, and sometimes We say fake it till you make it. I say affirm it until you believe it. And
Yeah,
so if you don't feel worthy, and that's okay. Like, we have to have these conversations to let people know, however you feel, those are your feelings. And I'm not trying to deflect them or tell you that you're wrong, because they're yours. But if you don't feel like you are showing up in a certain area, find an affirmation and repeat it. Tell it to yourself until it becomes a part of you. And before you know it, that's
yes,
no longer an issue.
yes, yes. I love it. Now, I'm gonna tell you what you do, and we're not there yet. But what you just did with that quick wordplay, that's transferring energy. Energy is not destroyed; it's transferred. So you change something that could have a negative connotation to it into positive, and that's what you have to become a master at. And how do you do that? It's here. Worry
Woo.
about yourself, self esteem. That's it. This is the big one. You got to be that horse
Mm-hmm.
with those blinders on. And I posted like a picture of that a couple of weeks ago, and I mean that. You can't be looking at other people's social media life, what they have, because number one, you don't know what they went through to get that, right? Number two, you are only responsible for your own area and what you do. So now I know that our area that we're responsible now is to make sure that we speak out and speak loud and speak with truth and
Mm-hmm.
research about trauma, dealing with trauma, and educating people on how to become better versions of themselves. So this is what we do. But I can't worry about someone else judging me or saying whatever about me because of the way I do stuff. If I am not your cup of tea, that's okay. Go find someone else. And we were talking earlier, and I was, and I know that people won't mind, but it was like I assessed kids, and I was telling her that with her daughter, I realized early, and this is my thing. All of my kids that I work with taught me something. And working with every daughter, I realized, and other kids like her too, I realized that the average, normal, typical, just everyday kid, that's not going to be the girls that or the boys that she hang around. She's going to need those arts, those creators, those people. That's what she's going to be because she's probably going to say something, come up with something that they just don't get. But
Mm-hmm.
what happens is, as parents, now let's go back to the parent side. Let's go back to the community side. People don't know. You start framing the self esteem of your child from ages 3 to 5. 3 to 5, the work that you do from 3 to 5 can either send your child on a track to have real positive self esteem and believe in themselves, or start to where that child is really shaky and start to judge themselves all the
Mm-hmm.
time and not feel good about themselves. And when you do that, you are now creating this atmosphere of judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Self esteem and judgment can't exist in the same space. Because in order for me to have self esteem, I can't worry about your judgment and how you view me. I have to just be me and live my truest self and be happy. Where are you at with that, Abby? Number 3, where you at?
Oh, so I love the point itself. Worry about yourself. So there's a meme of a little girl who was struggling, right? Hey, can I help you? She understood what was happening, what she was trying to do. And so she kind of looked up a little snarkily and went, worry about yourself. And I was like, yo, she was self assured enough to understand, like, I'm having a challenge with this, but I'm going to figure it out. Like, you drive, you stop talking to me, stop distracting me. And I believe in myself so much. And so I know I'm going to get it. So you just worry about the road, right? Worry about yourself. Um, Her self esteem was on 100. um, I think that's so difficult because if you go back to number two, with I am worthy. If you're worthy, once you know who you are And once you know you're worthy, and once you know what your purpose and your role is, I don't really care what you say. Like, I don't have time to be trying to go back and forth with you to prove my point, right? I don't have time to try to correct what you said. I don't have time to chase down the lies and rectify it. I don't have time to be out here stunting on nobody. Um, because truth be told, if I'm really putting my best self first and I'm putting all of my energy, what I need to do, what I need to focus on, what I should be at, then I really don't have time for that. All right. And when you get to that place, it makes life so much easier to do, because that burden of trying to make sure that Corey approves of what I'm doing is no longer there. If you look at a child, think about it this way. You've seen it as an educator. How many times have you been getting on a person's case and now they're so focused, like those blinders, like you talked about, they're so focused on not getting in trouble until they get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're focused so hard on not making you mad or getting you to like them. All they see is this until they end up doing the exact opposite of what their goal is. So if we would just learn to mind our own business, stop sweeping around your neighbor's front door. We don't need the tea. If you have time to be on the phone getting the tea, sis, bro, you're not doing enough work. You're not worried about yourself enough. If you have the space in your body to bring that energy in, to be worried about who's doing what, who's saying what, who's sleeping with who, oh, they got a new car. Is it so hard to just say congratulations and keep going? Because if you can congratulate them and if you can mind your business, your black owned business, right? And you can be happy and celebrate someone else, then doggone it's going to happen for you. Um, but that goes back to being self assured enough to know that what's for me is for me. And
Mm-hmm.
you're not my competition, right? We're all here to play a part. And if I'm playing my part, then I can show up as my best self and serve my brothers and my sisters. That's all my
Yes.
business is. Now, you gonna pay me for it? Absolutely. Um, because it's very valuable and it's worth it and it's energy, right? But I'm here to serve my brothers and my sisters. I can't serve you or your child or my community or my clients if I'm in competition with you. So
Mm-hmm.
worry about myself, worry about what God gave me, and do what He told me to do so I can show up as my best self for my brothers and my sisters. My baby's going to do it. You said something, and I've been thinking about that all day. Um, we have to, once we understand these 5 things that we're talking about for ourselves, making sure that we're also cultivating that in our children, because not everybody's going to get you. She's in robotics. I don't know what my child be doing half the time. I just know, like, this is the part that she needs, or this is a component she needs. I go to Google, okay, and I can go to Amazon, and Amazon's going to bring it to her, and she's around here making electricity and building engines, and I work with people's heads. So sometimes I don't understand it. I just know, like, when her eyes light up, I need to go, yes, good job. Don't ask me what she just did, right?
Right.
um and so if we can be self-assured within ourselves, then we can also show up like that for our children, and then we can teach them, hey, everybody's going to get it. You can't worry about that, right? Worry about yourself. But you're dope and you're amazing and you're worthy and you're smart and you're capable, and you're going to find your people. So if we're in all this competition, you're not with the right people, because you don't have to compete with your people. Your people are there to push you and to encourage you and to remind you when you're stop minding somebody else's business. Hey, bro, how's that business plan coming? How many clients do you have? How many people have you served? When was the last time you took your wife out? When's the last time you spent time with your children? Like, we ain't got time to worry about what they're saying if you're doing what you need to do.
Absolutely. No, that's real. And that's going to this. That's real and the energy's real. I mean, you just said a mouthful there, but we have to understand that with a person who is worthy, who loves themselves, into themselves, coming from a place of love and healing, that's an energy.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be very aware and cognizant of this time that the enemy is busy. And
Mm-hmm.
if you pay attention right now, like right now, how many viewers do we have? And granted, we're just getting started. We're not worried about that. We're not worried
Mm-hmm.
about the likes and the views. We're out here. Somebody's going to hear it. It's going to help
Right.
someone, right? But I'm trying to prove a point here. Versus one of these Instagram or these other type personalities here who's into toxic gossip and
Ugh.
spilling the tea and this and that. So now we're creating if energy wasn't real, why would corporations and so many people put so much money behind these people if it wasn't really affecting our children, our community, and our future? That's anti of what we do, because what happens is your body then only begins to respond to that negative energy, which I call garbage. It
Mm.
only starts to respond to the garbage, to the dirty stuff, to the stuff that's not clean. That means all this good stuff, you're gonna have to do some what do you call that thing? Some fasting and doing some purging and get some stuff up out
Listen,
of you,
exactly.
because you don't know how much energy not only are you absorbing from that person's platform, but every other person that commented on that platform with their negative energy, you're absorbing that too. Because we said in the first law, Albert Einstein, scientists, it's proven, like we said earlier, it's not spooky, it's
No.
not hoaxy, it is scientific. Go look up energy and the laws of conservation. Go look it up. Go study physics. If you think
Mm-hmm.
we're not, if you think that we're just making this up, it's science, it's reality.
Mm-hmm.
Energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be
Heard.
transferred.
Yep.
So if that is true, my question is to you, and I'm gonna pose this as a question when we talk about energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this goes to the tone of our country right now and where we at, to where we still have someone who is a congresswoman of color got arrested for knocking on the door. We have a ex police officer who's on trial. We have people who stormed the Capitol, threatened to kill politicians, and not only did that, literally try to even fight police officers. Right? We
No, they
have,
did. Let's call a thing a thing.
yeah,
They
that's right. So they
did.
did. They did. Police
They
officers.
did. They
Yep.
destroyed property.
Yep.
They broke into
They broke
a
into
federal
a
building.
federal building.
Well,
Yes.
no, they were invited in. If we're
Yeah. They,
completely being
right.
honest, they're invited.
Right.
They climbed over walls, right?
Right.
They were miscreants.
Right.
They were terrorists.
Right.
But okay, just want to be clear. Just want to be
No,
clear
you're
about
right.
that.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Keep it straight. We have people that can't go to grocery stores without fear of being shot. You can't go to the mall without shot. You can't be in your house without bullets whizzing through. You have situations where now we know that we can't even go to church without watching and looking at someone, making sure somebody's right. You can't go to the movie theater. Heck, we had people who refused to wear masks when we said masks would save people. Listen, look at that talk, that energy. That is
Mm-hmm.
all negative energy. Where is it coming from? Where does
Privilege.
it
Sorry,
start?
I'm gonna be quiet.
Right. It's coming from somewhere. And if we don't address it and take this on and realize that we need to transform a lot of that energy into positivity, then we're in trouble. Because if we don't, because my question is, every one of these people, where did they go to school? Where did they go to school? And the reason why I always go back to school, because as a young person, that's where you spend most of your time molding you.
Mm-hmm.
Original philosophers, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, all of those guys literally in the beginning, thought school was a place for you to learn and to develop so you can come up with your own way of having life and living your truest self, right?
Mhm.
So I bounce this to you. Why is this statement right here real to you? Still not. How do we begin to, especially, and I'm gonna go ahead and step on it because I don't want you to be the one to have to step on it, because you're a pastor, especially coming from the religious place where just because it's something that you don't understand, you automatically think that it's not of the Lord or of or whatever, when
Mhm.
we have just scientific proof that backs it. Plus, it actually backs up our spirituality even more. When you're in church and you can give energy that has overwhelmed you to where you got all of that, hey, you help me. Just help me. I'm just there.
First, we give it out to God, who's the head of my life, right?
Amen.
First of all, the Holy Ghost is not contagious. It's not a cold. You don't catch it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
It manifests within you. So what you feel and what God is saying to you connects, which is energy.
Energy.
And that expression of that connect is differently for everybody. So, and then you connect. I am very what do we call it? Cares all for it. I think information I don't think we have.
Yeah.
You're gonna
No.
pay me for mine.
And I think that's critical. There's nothing wrong with that. And this is why it's so beautiful in what you said, right? Because we will go pay for other things that are destroying us, number one, that are not adding value to us, but won't pay for the things that adds value to us. If I could go back and read all the things I've learned as a young person, I realized that from the age 17 to, I would say, 25, if I would take everything that I knew now and get the right team and the right people around me, I would literally be a millionaire right now.
Oh,
Plus.
easy, really
And I
easy.
say that to say this because we are not taught to invest in ourselves, invest in coaching, invest in therapy. Oh my God, no, you ain't need to talk to somebody. Like you said, pray away. Like, no, work on development, just like a coach. I say everything. My top thing is if you don't have a coach, it's hard for somebody to lead me. If I talk to someone and they're not being coached by someone else, that's a problem for me. And that's a problem because that means that you think you know it all and you have now stopped growing and educating yourself. That's why I consider myself an educator. I am constantly growing and evolving.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I am. If Alexa can continue to grow and evolve, I better continue to grow and evolve in this era. And this is the beast, and this is the situation that our children are going to be faced with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole nother discussion. I don't want to get there, but when I talk about the global world that is now here, that has been sped up by talk, who's ready to start the process of doing work, if you're already doing the work, write it down. If you don't write it down, it's not real. It didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the best thoughts, the best ideas, all this stuff, write it down. Right? Then once you write it, start to live it. Because
Mm-hmm.
like Evie said earlier, as a father, I can't say that I am a father and embrace all of that role of being a father if I tear my children down when I get angry and upset.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what a
Mm-hmm.
father role is. It's not what a father does. So
Mm-hmm.
start living who you say you're trying to be and become today.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on that, Evie?
Whew, that is so good. Write it down, and I want to go back to your initial question of who are you, right? So numbers 2 through 4 become so much. easier to walk out and to live once you're clear on number one. And a cheat code is that's ever evolving. So who I am today is not who you met, right? And if we stay in touch, I won't be this same person next year, right? It's growth and evolution. So write it down and celebrate the progress. If you know, again, it goes back to who are you? If you can write down who you are, who you think you are, right? And then write down who people told you you were, and look at them together and celebrate. I don't care if it's one thing, like, oh my God, I don't do this anymore, or I think differently about this. That's grounds for celebration. Go get your bag of chips, a scoop of ice cream, and celebrate it. It strengthens that muscle within yourself to continue that trajectory of change, right? If you are a screamer and you scream 6 days a week, if you can dedicate to be intentional to only screaming 5 days a week, you earn that ice cream. Because if you can stop doing it one day, then you can decrease another day, and then you can decrease another day. And before you know it, screaming is not your love language anymore, right? Now we're having conversations. So write it down. It helps to hold yourself accountable, and to also it's a barometer for your growth, and celebrate that growth. And like you said, and live it now. Start now. You don't have to wait 10, 15 days. Um, contrary to popular belief, 21 days does not create a habit. It's more like 69. It takes the first 21 days consecutively for your brain to even recognize something is happening. And then you have to continue it for about another 45 days or so after that for it to become a part of that muscle memory and a part of that history within your body. So definitely write it down and celebrate. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. We do it in the classroom. A kid, it seems like a simple sticker, but if I can go 10 minutes without having to redirect that child, that warrants a celebration. Because if he or she can do it for 10 minutes, then he or she can do it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour or now a day. But write it down. Once you write it down, it becomes a real thing. Um, so yeah, and I think that'd be a great call to action as well, to just sit with what we've been talking about tonight, the things, the 5 points that we've highlighted, and sit with those things. No judgment, no condemnation, no guilt, no shame. We are where we are right now, and let's do it. So who am I? What makes me happy? What drives me? What feeds me? What drains my energy? And be able to identify those things and put those in proper categories and buckets. And then it makes the other points so much easier. Once you know who you are, then you can really live and stand in those I am moments. I am worthy. I am smart. I am brave. I am courageous. Damn it, I am smart. I can do hard things. I am not a quitter. Um, I am not less than, right? He's back. Great.
Oh
And
no, I
then
was
we
there.
can
I
do
was
that.
giving you your moment. I
Oh,
was
okay.
going off the screen. I went backstage. I was like,
Okay.
I gotta put the camera on her. Let's go.
And then number three, like, then once you know who I am, then you can mind your own business. You can worry about yourself, and you can protect your energy. And then you're able to lend it when you need to. You're able to transfer it because it doesn't die. You're able to transfer that positivity. I chuckled a little bit when you said that about people who are just like who've found themselves and settled in themselves, how they irritate people. I am not a bubbly person, right? At all. And typically they do get on my nerves. I'm guilty as charged. I'd be like, sis, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I need you to pipe down. Okay? Talk to me at noon. By then I've waken up a little bit. But I think that's so beautiful that they express themselves, and I don't care how much I tell them they're getting on my nerve, they ain't going nowhere because they know who they are. And that energy, you can't stay mad with somebody who's smiling. Try it. I tell people that, I tell my clients that you cannot be angry and blow bubbles. You cannot be angry at a person who's smiling. It's like, okay, that energy hits you, and as upset as you are, you start to de-escalate, and then you find yourself smiling, and then we say stuff like, I ain't smiling with you, I'm mad. But you see my face, like, you see how my whole disposition has changed. That's energy. And
Mhm.
so then you can protect your energy and you can lend your energy, because there's days when we're not 100. I'm the first to admit it. There's days where I'm like, listen, okay, okay,
Mhm.
I'm gonna take 10 minutes over here. Don't interrupt me, because you gonna get what you gonna get. And I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna go, whew, all right. I'm gonna breathe and we're gonna keep going. We're human. And sometimes our energy is lasting as well. Um, but that it goes back, in my opinion, to your number one thing. Who are you? And when we can reconcile who we are and who we want to be and who we desire to be with what we've been told, those labels that we wear, and those negative moments, then you can show up as your best self and shift the room. I mean, tilt it, okay? Tilt that room with your energy, just being free and resolved in who you are and who you're becoming.
Yes. No, thank you. Thank you. This was a lot. This was a lot to unpack tonight. Um, but thank you for taking this journey. We're going to be back again doing this. We're going to come up with a schedule earlier, promote earlier, but we definitely have an episode 2 coming, part 2. We're going to keep this going. And we're just going to continue to work on, healing the culture, one person, one situation, one issue at a time. If you like this, please share it. Please inbox us, message if you have any questions, leave a comment, whatever. Start a post on your page with certain things that resonated with you. But this is the process. Let's put more positive and healing energy out there versus just, I call it black pain or just pain in general. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we just love you all.
Yeah.
And just remember, emotions are nothing more than energy, like we talked about. Whatever vibe you in, whatever emotion you in,
Mm-hmm.
what's causing that. If you need to move out of that, if it's not a necessarily positive vibe, move out of that. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Just do it. Just do it.
And
What do you
Mr.
have to
Shaw,
say
can
for
can
with
can we
that?
also ask them?
Yeah,
So here's the thing: when we start looking, when we start asking people to be vulnerable, right? When we
yeah,
start bringing up potential pain points,
yeah,
let's be very realistic. You might start to feel some kind of way. You may
yeah.
feel several some kind of ways. That's normal, okay? And if you find yourself in that space, don't hesitate to reach out to one of us.
Yes,
That's why
please.
we're here. We're creating the space, we're starting the conversation. And you do not have to do this on your own, okay? You cannot heal in isolation. You need that support. You need that camaraderie. You need that encouragement, that belief,
Yes,
that push. So it does not make you weak to reach out and go, hey, I was working on my list and I feel some kind of way, or it hurt my feelings, or I feel shame behind this, or I feel guilt behind this. Like, I want to, show up at part 2 with my paper and be proud of it, but I don't know how I feel about this. Reach out to one of us. We're here for that. But I challenge you all to do the assignment. It's a call to action. Take 60 seconds. And I think if you take the first 60, you'll give yourself a few more moments, but do it. Okay? Let's be doers. Let's do it now, as you said, and live it now. And as you're living it now, if it hurts, reach out to one of us. Okay? We're not here to shame you or make you feel bad. We're here to illuminate certain things and to bring healing to that point. And that's how we grow. That's how we grow as a person, as a parent, as an educator, as a community, and most certainly as leaders. Write it down. If it hurts when you write it, come holler at one of us. Holler at your girl. We are here.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So yeah, so we're signing off. If there's not anything else you have, I think that was a powerful call to action. Let's do it. Let's be vulnerable. Let's do the work. Let's start the process. And like you said, and thank you for adding that. Like if you start to feel uncomfortable, go through it with someone. Don't run away from it. Don't stop. You know, it's just like I started to get them hung. I'm trying to do some diet and stuff. I'm with you. I'm trying to get my life back right. And then I get them hunger pains. I want to grab them chips and stuff. It's like I have to stay away from them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Just stay away. I gotta hear that coach in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
Grab those almonds instead. That's what the writing assignment does. It doesn't
There,
mean you have to starve. It just means you feed yourself something differently.
there we
And
go.
if you don't have the food, then hey, that's what stores are for. That's what mental stores are for. And we're here with a healthy snack. It's like, hey, stay in the game, champ. That's what my coach says. My personal trainer. You got it, champ. I don't like you. I don't feel like a champion. But at the end of that 45 minutes, it's like, who I didn't quit. And so
Right.
that's all we're asking you to do is
Don't
if
quit.
you feel like you're ready to quit, nope, you stay in the game, champ. Stay in there. We got a healthy snack. We will be there with you to support you. Because as you get healthy, everything attached to you is going to become healthy and flourish and thrive. I'm excited. Well, I think he may be frozen for real this time. Follow Corey Shaw on social media. You do not want to miss an ounce of what he has coming. Um, it's so amazing. It's so applicable. It's really doable. So it's nothing really hard or over the top. Stay connected. Follow him on social media. Sign up for some of his sessions and get to know more about him. Um, I hold on a second. I've had it. I had it. I feel so bad. I feel so bad. What is it? Um, always conscious. Always conscious with Corey Shaw. So go and look him up. Go follow him on social media so you do not miss a single thing that he has coming because he is not only with us, he's for us as a community, as a father, as a man, as a male figure. He's not only here with us, he's definitely for us. If you are looking to connect with me, you can most certainly follow me on social media. Visit my website. Everything that you need to know or to take next steps to have a consultation session with me, to possibly become a client, visit www.choteconsultingfirm.info, and I will make sure that we tag it in the comments. And for those of you who are watching today, it's April Fool's Day, right? I have a April Fool's Day treat for you. So everyone who goes and books today, well, for the next 24 hours, I'm keep it open for 24 hours since it's 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock now. Um, so if you go and book 20 sessions, every session that you book today, you will get 35% off. So I will make sure I tag that um, in the comments and when I reshare this post. So we're here, guys. We are for you. Something that I know about the both of us, if resources may be an issue, don't let resources keep you from reaching out to either one of us because there's always ways to gather the resources. We care about you and your healing and your family and your legacy. So don't let pride, don't let shame stand in the way of reaching out to one of us and, explaining what's going on. Because again, like I've been saying, the whole time, he's not only with us, he's for us. I'm not only with us, I am for us. And if I don't have the service that you need, I'm a part of a collective called the Healing Group with all melanated male and females. So if you would prefer to open up and share with a man, we have a man right here. He's right on the other side of the screen. We have a couple of males in our network who is willing to be that safe space to support you. So no excuses. That is the other thing that he has not mentioned all night. We are removing the barriers. We are removing the excuses. We are showing up, and there are places for you to plug in to get the support and the service that you need to be able to join forces with us and spread the news of healing.
All right.
He's coming back. Oh, so yeah, so go follow us. Go right now. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Go right now, and I will pin the information to take advantage of that 35% off. Come talk to me. Come talk to me. I believe you. I am here for you.